Some months ago, a young woman wrote to us telling us that the place where she had grown up was about to disappear. Her story is one chapter in this nation's immigrant experience set on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. Maria Shriver followed her return to the place of her birth.
The garden island of Kauai, fragrant, serene, breathtaking in its natural beauty. When you see it, it's easy to think you've discovered paradise.
Kehika is not going to make it. Ethel's here.
These people's parents and grandparents came here in search of paradise, a land rich in opportunity. This weekend, 700 Japanese Americans came from all over for a reunion in Kauai. Their story is about struggle and overcoming hardship. Their story is about pride and the American dream.
They're so old.
Carol Iwata wrote us about the reunion. She lives in Chicago, but she grew up here. Her roots are here.
It was like another time, because so many things have happened since then.
Carol Iwata's grandparents came here from Hiroshima 100 years ago. They came because a heavy land tax and poor rice harvests had made it difficult to survive in Japan. That was good news for Hawaiian sugar companies who were searching for cheap and reliable labor. In 1885, the first ship carrying close to 1,000 Japanese docked in Hawaii. They came for a one-way ticket and a 3-year contract to work at $15 a month. Over the next 40 years, 200,000 Japanese came to work in the sugar fields all over Hawaii. Labor in paradise turned out to be more like slave labor in the American South. Even though conditions improved for their children, it was still backbreaking work.
You know, when I was a kid, we worked for 50 cents a day. Imagine it, just 50 cents a day.
Hardship persisted even after Hawaii was annexed by the United States, which abolished contract labor. But few had the resources to return to Japan, so home became the plantation housing provided by the sugar companies. This complex was called Camp Wahiawa. Most of the people at this reunion were born here. Yoshiko Owata is Carol's mother. She retired from the sugar fields in 1974 after 22 years.
Do you have to struggle?
Yes, I struggled because my husband died, you know, when he was young, in 41, and he left 4 children with me. So I had to work hard to send them to college. It's not hard work because it's hot in the sun. You used to work in a cane field. It's very hard. Even rain or shine, you used to work in a field.
Do you find that amongst your generation and the generation preceding you that there is bitterness when you walk through this camp?
It's all relative how your parents brought you up. I mean, if they brought you up feeling bitter, of course you would, because you would feel that you were downtrodden and you were poor and you were, you know, I mean, you just didn't have things that other people had. But I think it's a tribute to our parents that we don't feel that way.
The old Zen Buddhist temple was the focal point of camp life. Senator Daniel Inouye came back for the last service in the church. His father lived in Wahiawa.
The Buddhist religion is one of great sacrifice and also one of great tolerance and one of great forgiveness. These people who are in the black robes, they're convinced they're going to see Nirvana one of these days.
The wartime minister of this church was the only camp resident who was interned after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Walter Ozawa is his son.
Whenever he was asked who he wanted to win the war, he'd always say the United States. And when they'd ask why, he'd say because his children, we were Americans.
And after the war, the sugarcane workers were unionized. There were strikes. Nobuto Hanada remembers.
When we organize, we have such thing as workers' rights. You can complain, give grievances. Any working condition improves very much.
It's the living room.
There's a bedroom right here.
Yeah.
What's caused the death of this camp and all the others in Hawaii?
I think the price of the sugarcane of the Hawaiian sugarcane is so high that economically probably they can't really afford to keep it going.
Jerry Hirata.
Well, I perceive myself as like the lost generation, the lost plantation generation. There were no opportunities for us to work here, so our parents sacrificed. We knew that we had to leave Kauai, the plantation, to further our education and work.
In a couple of months, the ruins of Wahiawa will be leveled to make way for sugarcane, tea, and macadamia nuts.
And of course, I'll have memories, but I'll come back and I won't see it here. But that's okay, because I'm living through it now, so.
Perhaps with age comes wisdom and acceptance. Carol's mother read from Buddhist scripture. It says, life is more transient than the dew. We cannot call back a single day that has passed. Perhaps the old people of Wahiawa can only hope that the young will learn to accept that while you can remember, you cannot go back. Maria Shriver, CBS News on the island of Kauai.